Elaine Thompson-Herah is literally one of the most beloved athletes in the sport of track and field. And over the past couple years, it's been interesting to see the evolution of how fans have reacted to Elaine, considering the ups and downs that she's displayed really since coming off the Olympic Games in 2021, when she got her second double-double gold medals in the 100 and the 200, and then of course added the 4x1 gold. But in 2025, the conversation around Elaine has started to pick up because this has basically been the longest gap from competition that Elaine has experienced in her entire career, even despite all the injuries that she's had dating all the way back to 2017. But now, as we enter the Jamaican Championships coming up this weekend, people have noticed that Elaine Thompson-Herah has not actually entered to compete in any of the events in the 100, the 200, and she's already surpassed the extended deadline for entries for athletes. This, of course, seems to confirm that she won't compete this weekend, but also it leaves questions for the community on what is her current state, what is her current fitness, where is she going to be, competing in the future? Will she actually even run in 2025? And I think I'm going to start off and say, I don't have the answers to any of those questions. Elaine Thompson-Herah may not even have those answers very specifically because she's been dealing with injuries throughout all of her career. So I do want to quickly discuss why Elaine Thompson-Herah has become such a beloved athlete in track and field, but also considering all the injuries and the setbacks, especially in the past few years, I think we do have to acknowledge that we may not see the Elaine Thompson-Herah that we used to know in the future years.
Keep the faith, trust, believe, never let the naysayers or the noise get you down or distract you. I'm never distracted. I am not bothered what nobody says about me. I think whatever they say motivates me because I like to prove how good I am.
And I think this does go to the first point that I want to make, where Elaine Thompson-Herah has become one of the most beloved athletes in the sport because she's been so resilient through all the ups and downs, through all the injuries, through all the setbacks, through all the backlash, the change in sponsors. Despite all of that, she's been able to pick herself back up, to win a medal, to be able to get gold, to run the second fastest time in history. All these things have shown her resilience and, a display of consistency that is really unmatched when talking about some of the other greats in the sport. Now, I do want to talk about one thing that we as fans have to start to accept a little bit about Elaine, but just to circle back to why she is so beloved. If we look at Elaine Thompson-Herah's career, she's been a late bloomer in a sense, where coming out of champs in Jamaica, she really wasn't that well known and wasn't one of the top sprinters. Going back to when she was 18 years old and competing at Jamaican high school champs, at that time in 2010, she only had personal bests of 11.80, and in the 200, her best was 24.68. So this wasn't a prominent athlete or the athlete that we know today. And it still took some years for her to actually break out. We know her as really stepping onto the scene in 2015, but prior to that year, she actually still only had bests of 11.17 in the 100 and 23.23 seconds in the 200. That speaks to how much progress she was able to make in just a single year between 2014 and 2015, where we eventually saw her not only win a silver medal in the 200 at the World Championships and run on Jamaica's 4x1, but she also ran times that year of 10.84 seconds and 21.66 seconds. Again, dropping down from 11.17 in the 100 and 23.23 seconds in the 200. Someone in the comments could let me know, have we seen a drastic drop from 23.2 1 year before all the way down to 21.6? I don't know, but that proved that Elaine Thompson-Herah was special. And from that point on, the success just continued. Double Olympic champion in 2016 at the Rio Olympic Games. Again, only 1 year after really stepping onto the scene. And this just solidified her as we had not seen that done before since 1988 with Florence Griffith Joyner. Yes, I'm ignoring 2000. Marion Jones, of course, was disqualified, so that doesn't count in any capacity. But also what's really important here, especially in 2016, is that, remember, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at that point had been almost a golden girl for Jamaica, having won 2 Olympic championship titles in the 100 meters, 2008 and 2012. During 2016, when Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was dealing with injuries and setbacks and only managed to get a bronze medal at the Olympics, Elaine kept that consistency for Jamaica and that gold medal spot in the 100 for the country. That is one of the reasons why people really gravitated towards Elaine, where it was like, listen, Shelly is here, you're here, we get to see 2 of the best going head to head, but also working together to continue Jamaica's legacy. Now, in the subsequent years, she dealt with significant injuries, specifically on her Achilles, which really set her back and prevented her from actually getting on the podium. 2017, she was not able to medal there. 2019, she was also not able to medal there. Well, as we look forward, 2021, Elaine Thompson-Herah, after the setbacks, after the injuries, she is right back on top of the podium, not only winning the gold medals at the Olympic Games in the 100, the 200, and the 4x1, but she becomes the second fastest athlete in history in both of those individual events. 100 meters, 10.54 seconds, literally the fastest since Florence Griffith Joyner. 200 meters, 21.53 seconds. In that year, 2021, that was the fastest since Flojo's world record as well. So this again just continued that consistency for Jamaica at the top of the podium in the sprints, but also it spoke to her resiliency and ability to bounce back. Remember, she was not able to get on the podium in 2017 and 2019 due to the injuries, due to the Achilles issues, due to all those setbacks, but she was able to come back better than ever. And even more importantly, no woman in history had ever been able to complete a double-double at the Olympic Games. 100, 200, 100, 200. And she got that 4x1 gold to add to it. This is one of the factors that led to Elaine becoming one of the most beloved athletes, of course, in the sport, but specifically in Jamaica, where she's making history that no one outside of, Usain Bolt has been able to do, but no one on the women's side has been able to do. But in tandem with that is the fact that she's competing with some of these Jamaican legends, and again, continuing that sprint success and that sprint legacy. 2015, Elaine Thompson-Herah silver, Veronica Campbell-Brown gets that bronze. 2021, Elaine Thompson-Herah, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and Shericka Jackson sweep that podium. It just continues to add to that mystique and that, amazing feeling that Jamaicans and that pride that Jamaicans are feeling. And I think Elaine, in a sense, kind of in this second half, Elaine and Shelly-Ann are kind of the catalysts and the leaders of this generation for Jamaican pride, at least on the women's side for sure. But 2022, after some ups and downs, again, injuries again, she unfortunately switches coaches and all these kind of things, she still does manage to get on the podium at the World Championships, getting a bronze medal to complete the sweep for Jamaica with Shelly-Ann, Shericka Jackson, and Elaine Thompson-Herah in that 100 meters. The following year, she again is dealing with those injuries, more coaching changes, all kinds of things like that, but she unfortunately does not make the team to the World Championships in 2023. She does make it on the relay and competes in the heats at the Budapest World Champs, but she unfortunately doesn't compete individually. But regardless, despite all those setbacks that she experienced, she actually did get back to quote unquote her old self at the end of the year, eventually running 10.7 seconds, at some of the Diamond Leagues, at the end of 2023. 2024, Elaine Thompson-Herah competed in just 2 meets on the calendar. One, the Prefontaine Classic, where she ran 11.30 seconds, finishing last place in that race. But then finally, this was her last competition that we've ever seen her in, was 2024 at the NYC Grand Prix, where in the 100, she ran 11.48 seconds, but unfortunately pulled up, fell to the track, had to be carried off, and she was dealing, once again, with this injury, likely this Achilles injury that has been, hindering her over the past couple years in her career. That is the last time that we've seen Elaine Thompson-Herah on the track. But again, this speaks to why she's such a beloved athlete, because even in some of these tough times, even in the midst of these injuries, we've seen her bounce back and we've seen her literally become one of the greatest athletes in the sport. Remember, 2016, after that, she got injured, didn't get on the podium, but she came back even better in 2021. So this is kind of the mystique that Elaine Thompson-Herah has, where people believe, okay, if it's Olympic time, Elaine Thompson-Herah is going to be ready. Unfortunately, we didn't see that last year, but people still have hope of, listen, we've seen her come back. We've seen her come back even faster. We feel like Elaine Thompson-Herah can actually do it again. That's what I think people do hold on to, the fact that we've seen it happen before and it could potentially happen once again. On top of that, she's been competing in this era with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and a little bit with Veronica Campbell-Brown, and both of those women have actually competed well into their 30s. Veronica Campbell-Brown, remember, in 2015, when she got a bronze medal in the 200, she actually was 33 years old at that point, and she actually competed for many years after that. She was on the 4x1 at the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, she's still competing to this day, and she's already 38 years old, even circling back to 2022 when she won a gold medal and was running, 10-6 on command, throughout that entire year. She was 35 years old at that point. So I think when Elaine Thompson-Herah is kind of compared to her, Jamaican contemporaries, it still gives hope that in 2025, Elaine Thompson-Herah is only going to be 33 years old. So she still has many years to be able to not only make progress, but potentially get on the podium once again, maybe even run a little bit faster than she already has. And it's very possible. In 2022 at those World Championships, I actually spoke to Elaine Thompson-Herah, and she said that someone like Shelly-Ann actually gives her hope that she can continue her career, into the later stages of her 30s.
Do you look to kind of extend your career into when you're like 35, right? 5 years down the line, to continue running that long?
Yes, because I have not completed a season where I'm not having niggles or pain, and I think I'm not at my peak yet, even though I'm 30, but I will continue keeping my faith and belief, because I know I have a lot more in me, because as I said, every season there's some bumps in the road. So I know I have a lot more. And for me, it's all about dominating our country. We have so much talented ladies there. I mean, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, she's 35, she have a baby and she's still going. That tells me that I can still go even when I'm 35. So I think she's setting the barrier for us as young ladies to continue to hold the flag high, and us as young ladies leaving the barrier for the younger girls to come up and to be just like one of us,
But with all of that said, I also do think we have to acknowledge that all of that might not actually happen. We may not actually see Elaine Thompson-Herah get back to her old form, get back to that 10.5, get back to that, 21.5, or get faster. We may not see that. Yes, she is a very special athlete to be able to achieve a double-double at the Olympic Games, to become the second fastest woman in history in the 100 and at one point in the 200 as well. That takes a very, very special athlete, not only from talent, right, that God-given talent that you're born with, but also hard work on the track, to be able to bounce back from injuries, to be able to get to the top of the podium once again. That is not easy. But I think we also have to acknowledge that may not happen again. Considering the injuries that she's dealt with, those setbacks can only pile on for so long. Now, we have seen many athletes, actually bounce back from that, whether that's Trayvon Bromell. He's dealt with a couple different surgeries, and he's, of course, been able to get back to some really good form, actually make it back onto the podium, between 2015, injury, 2022, got back on the podium. Looks like he's getting back to form now. But I do think we have to be okay with both sides, where if Elaine Thompson-Herah does get back and does start to show that form again, then that's going to be a win for everyone. But also, that may not happen, right? That may be something that we as track fans who loved watching, Elaine Thompson-Herah grow and develop and become one of the legends in the sport that we know her as today, that may not actually come to fruition, and a new generation of sprinters from Jamaica will eventually come and take her place. Now, again, in my opinion, it doesn't diminish anything she's done, but it's almost like acceptance that, listen, we've seen what she's been able to do. We've seen her achieve all the success, but now someone else is coming along. Now someone else is going to come over and, take that spot where they may go on to win gold medals. They may go on to, break records and do all those things that Elaine did. Now, again, we still don't know exactly what's going on with Elaine. She may pop up and actually run a race, sooner than we think. Maybe she runs, something extremely fast and she's right back where she is. But it's also okay if she never does get back to that and, she eventually just is where she's at with the 10.5 and the 21.5. Who knows? But last thing I want to say is, and I'm curious from the community, I wonder how people kind of perceive someone like Elaine Thompson-Herah versus a Yohan Blake, where Yohan Blake also has, he is number 2 all time in both the 100 and the 200. He doesn't have as many medals, of course, as Elaine Thompson-Herah, but it seems like people have been more critical of Yohan Blake over his career, despite him dealing with injuries, despite him, not being able to get back to his, previous form from 2011, 2012. Whereas it seems like with Elaine Thompson-Herah, people have been a little bit more understanding and more, loving of her and wanting to see her get back. Maybe it's because Yohan Blake is a little more expressive. He's still out here competing very frequently and just not running as fast. Elaine Thompson-Herah, of course, doesn't actually compete due to those injuries, but also she's very quiet, very reserved, and, doesn't engage with the media as much. Again, I wonder what the differences may be between Elaine and Yohan, especially from the community and from Jamaican people, who are, following both their careers. But let me know what you think about Elaine Thompson-Herah. Of course, I think we all want to see her back, but do you accept that maybe she will not get back to that previous form that we've seen her? Let me know what you think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.